Hey everyone, it's Fred Staub and Les Jackson. We are ready with another hour of Cruise Control. Stand by because we've got plenty coming up, including a look at the new Bronco Raptor, Les Jackson, which is an incredible vehicle. We'll take a look at that, and we'll have a great guest on to talk about it, and I think it's going to be pretty exciting stuff, so stay tuned for that. And you're going to have a story about the average price of a used car, right?
Yes, if people are sitting down and gritting their teeth, we can talk about the average price of a used vehicle. Whatever you think it is, it's probably higher.
That's right. So we'll talk about that and more when we come back on Cruise Control.
This is Cruise Control. Your on-air automotive magazine with co-hosts Fred Staub and Les Jackson. Everything you need to know about new and used cars. Industry news. We'll fix or repair your car on the air. Fasten your seatbelts and let us take the wheel. Now, your ride is about to begin. Because you're on Cruise Control. Cruise Control. Cruise Control.
Yes, indeed. Hey, welcome everybody to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. As usual, we're here live. One of us is digging out from snow. The other is just plain cold. And I am the cold one, Les Jackson, the snow guy.
I am the cold one.
That's it.
Sounds like a Beatles song. I am the cold
exactly.
one. No,
our resident snowman, Fred, is...
Yeah, we're in the middle of a blizzard here, so...
Yeah.
So we're going to stay inside and talk about the automotive industry. Plenty of new models coming out. We've got a great guest talking about the Bronco Raptor. So a lot to get to, Les, and we're starting this hour with Toyota revealing the all-new Sequoia, which is a pretty amazing vehicle. We're going to talk about that. Cool stuff going on there with Toyota, and they're kind of bringing back some of the old names for the models. So we'll stay tuned for that.
Yeah, that's kind of a welcome thing for me. But anyway,
think so.
For those of you looking for used vehicles, the average price has, oh boy, just exploded. And Kelley Blue Book has just finished a study. We're going to quote from it, and it's not good news.
No, not good news at all. We'll talk about that. And then we're also going to talk about this vehicle. It's from Mazda. It is the CX-50. It's an important vehicle for the brand because they feel it could double their sales in the U.S. Well, we'll talk about that, won't we?
That's big time.
Yeah, exactly.
That's real big time. And the big news, or a piece of big news, Ford, as we expected, has put out, or is ready to put out, the 400 horsepower Go Anywhere Bronco Raptor. That's race inspired, off-road everywhere, probably climbs sheer cliffs. And we have Bronco marketing manager Esteban Plaza-Jennings on. He's been on before.
Sure has.
And he's going to fill us in on all the cool stuff.
It truly is a go-anywhere vehicle, 400 horsepower, as you said, all the good stuff, including things like Fox shocks and more. They've really built this thing from the ground up. It is very, very capable.
Yeah.
They always say about the Bronco, they call it GOAT, go anywhere over any terrain. And I think this takes it a step further. It go really anywhere over any terrain. So that is pretty cool stuff. And also excited about the Sequoia. We'll talk about that and more when we come back on Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. I'm Fred Staub. He is Les Jackson. We are just getting started this hour because there is plenty to get to. And we're glad you're along for the ride. Don't forget to check us out at cruisecontrolradio.com, where you can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, check out the YouTube page, and more. Coming up, the new Toyota Sequoia. Stay tuned.
Yep.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. I'm Fred Staub, and my co-host, as always, is Les Jackson. We got a lot going on this hour, and we are glad that you are along for the ride with us. We're going to be talking about Toyotas, and specifically a really big Toyota, the 3-row Sequoia. And what's interesting here, Les, they've kind of kept some heritage in this vehicle while updating it. This is a 2023 model. They all come with the powerful twin-turbo V6 hybrid iForce Max powertrain. That is a hybrid powertrain. All of them come with that hybrid powertrain. And this thing puts out 437 horsepower, 583 pound-feet of torque, which is monstrous.
It is monstrous. It's basically a Tundra with a beautiful cabin.
Yeah, an incredible cabin. I mean, Toyota across the board is up their game. It's no longer the stodgy brand, the play it safe, lots of great plastic brand on the inside. They also have a very capable off-road version of this thing, the TRD, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. And it is quite rugged looking and quite rugged as far as handling the road. And then you can get a very high-end version called the Capstone, which is extremely luxurious and really over the top, 22-inch wheels, which is the first for Toyota. So they're really taking this upscale. But what they've done, Les, is they have included some of the old names, like the SR5, as the model. I mean, you remember that from a long time ago, don't you?
Oh, yeah. That goes back, 15, 20 years.
Yeah, so they've kind of kept this all in the family, per se. You got 9,000 pounds of towing capability, so that is a lot of power there. Yep. And 3 rows. And, of course, it's loaded with everything you can think of. There's 5 different grades. As I said, it starts with the SR5, moves up to the Limited, and then you can go beyond that. Platinum grade, TRD Pro, which is the really off-road capable vehicle that is pretty wild when you think about it. It's almost, we have seen this in a 3-row SUV in the past? I doubt it, but let's face it, it keeps with the trend of a lot of manufacturers putting on really good quality stuff like Fox shocks and other TRD goodies, and making a large SUV that was formerly just a family hauler into a really capable off-roader. We've seen this trend from everybody, really, including Kia, Subaru, and more, right?
Well, that's right. And needless to say, it'll haul your kayak because you got to have a kayak.
Yes.
But yeah, the fact is, first, Toyota is super high quality. They as one automotive writer years ago said, they screw them together better than anyone else. And that's basically true. So, now you've got kind of the best of all worlds. It's just a great, big, useful, versatile vehicle, smooth, quiet inside, but it'll just take you and whatever you want with you everywhere.
Yeah, and what's interesting about this vehicle, you look at it, it is very trucky, it is very angular, yet it is very luxurious as well. So they've kind of done it all here with the Sequoia. You get all kinds of high-end infotainment. There is I believe, a 14-inch touchscreen that is available. That's sort of the new wars, Les Jackson. Remember, we used to talk about torque wars. Now it's infotainment wars, isn't it? And
well, that's right.
And all kinds of things in there. automatic high beams. As I mentioned, 22-inch wheels in the Capstone version, which is their luxurious version, which you can bet is going to be expensive. We don't have pricing information on this yet, but that is going to be a big ticket item for sure. But this is a big addition to their lineup, and I think it's going to do real well for them. So stay tuned to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. We will be right back. Les is going to have a story about used car prices, which may shock you if you haven't bought a car in a while.
Oh, yeah.
All right. We'll be right back with Cruise Control. Stay tuned.
Cruise Control.
Hey, welcome back to Cruise Control. Les and Fred here. And as we promised right before the break, I'm going to cover the average used car price these days. Kelley Blue Book just finished a study. Of course, they publish used car values, so they're experts on it.
That's true.
Okay, the good news, if there's any good news, supplies are picking up.
Now, why is that? Why do you think that? Why do you think supplies are picking up?
Well, they say that the new car supply is picking up for the most part. Not picking up a lot, but it's picking up. At least it isn't stagnant.
Okay, you're getting those cars without all the features like heated seats and things like that.
Yeah, but because of the chips, because of the sell-off from the rental car companies a couple of years ago, used cars are still in short supply relative to what they used to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So the average used car is now selling for 28,205, which doesn't sound bad.
But it's a used car.
It's a used car. And I just priced a car yesterday.
Okay.
And the reason I did is because a year ago, I was toying with the idea of getting rid of my not terribly reliable, although very low mileage Mazda 6, and going for a Kia Optima.
Okay.
And at the time, Kia Optimas with less than 3 to 4 years old, with less than 30,000 miles, were selling for between $13,000 and $16,000.
All right. Doesn't sound bad.
You want to guess what those same Optimas are selling for now?
I would say $10,000 higher.
You're just about right. Yeah.
That's
26, 27.
That's my rule of thumb. Prices today, if you think about what it was a year ago. I have a friend in Florida that bought a Ford Edge, and he had looked at it a year ago and didn't pull the trigger on it, and he waited. Now he needs a car, and he had to buy it, and he said it was 10 grand more than last year, almost to the dollar.
But you're buying a used car, and when you buy a used car, you're buying really miles per dollar.
Okay.
What's left in it? So what would, if I bought that Optima
right
tomorrow,
right,
for 26,000, why would I do that? Even though it might have 30,000, 35,000 on it, I don't have a choice in color. It's what it is.
What it is. It is
interior, what it is. Which is probably black, and I don't like black interiors. Why not just spend the $26,000 or $27,000, buy a brand new Accord or Camry or the equivalent, knowing full well that of that 26, 27, 28,000, probably 3,000 is added dealer markup because of the shortage of new cars.
Right.
But I would still rather do that and grit my teeth than buy the used car, which I have no choice over. At least the new one, I can, choose.
You can choose. You
Burgundy
can shop
one
around. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's true. And people just, I think, limit themselves too much to one model. And that's kind of one of the things we like to do on the show. There's a lot of models out there. You don't, as this article from Kelley Blue Book said, the average price for a new car now is about $47,000, very close to $50,000. You don't have to spend that. You can get great vehicles for less than that. One we're going to review later is a all-wheel drive crossover that is a hybrid, got 38 miles to the gallon on the highway, and the sticker is 37. So maybe, you might not be able to get it for sticker, or maybe you be able to get it for sticker. You won't be able to deal with it.
That's right.
But it's still 37,000, which is significantly less than 50.
And 24% of the 209 different makes and models you can buy in this country are priced at less than 30,000.
Right. The problem is
forgetting about the dealer markup.
Yeah. Are they marking up things like Accords and that people really?
Absolutely. Yes, they are about 2,000 to 3,000. There's one dealer, Toyota dealer in Southern Virginia, that's claiming that he sells everything at MSRP.
Right. I heard that some dealers are doing that, like that's a deal now to get it at MSRP. It's just the price, whatever the sticker says, you go with that and go from there.
I would drive to Florida for that. Not because I want to go to Florida, but even though it's a long trip, it's the principle of the thing. The extra 3,000
for nothing.
For nothing.
No, it's just pure waste for sure. All right, well, there's that. Then let's go over to Mazda. they have their CX-50. That first one rolled off the assembly line. And it's a joint venture between Mazda and Toyota, this vehicle. It's a $2.3 billion and they're hoping to double, Mazda's hoping to double their sales in the U.S. with this vehicle. Now, what's the standout features of it? Well, it's got a relatively big engine, 2.5-liter turbo engine. It will offer electrified versions in the future. And as you know, Mazda has done a lot with their interiors to really upgrade them. The CX-5 was one of the first ones where they really upgraded it. So it'll be interesting to see if they can accomplish those big numbers. It's quite a big goal, though, to double your U.S. sales.
It's a big goal.
Vehicle.
Well, but you know what? I think they figure the association with Toyota and just what that vehicle is and where it sits in the desire envelope of Americans. I think they can probably do it.
Yeah, it will be interesting. It's called the CX-50. A little confusing on Mazda. There's CX-30s, there's CX-3s, there's a CX-5. Of course, this gets the rugged roof carrier and the black wheels, which instantly means you're an off-roader.
Yep.
But don't tell that to our guest who's coming up. He is the marketing person for the Bronco Raptor, among other vehicles. And we're going to talk about this Bronco Raptor. I mean, it's hard to believe you can buy a vehicle like this from the factory. There's nothing you have to do to it, and you can go off-roading.
Right.
Plaza-Jennings is going to join us once again. Join us from the seat of his F-250 last time. Let's see if he joins us after the break from his Ford vehicle. By the way, big news.
Isn't that incredible?
That is incredible. The 40 millionth F-Series truck. Can you believe that?
40 million F-Series trucks.
Yeah, pretty crazy, right? So we'll talk about that a little bit later on as well. So a lot coming up. The Bronco Raptor is probably one of the most capable vehicles ever from the factory. And it looks like some race team has taken it and modified it and got it ready for the Baja 1000.
Yep.
But in reality, it was driven off the dealer's lot. And they also have done a lot with the chassis. We're going to talk about that. Really cool stuff. So stay tuned to Cruise Control. When we come back, it's all about the Bronco Raptor. We will be right back on Cruise Control.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. It's Fred Staub and Les Jackson. We are glad you're along for the ride. And this is what we're going to be riding in. It is the Ford Bronco Raptor that was revealed. And we have a lot of details on this vehicle. We wanted to get all of them correctly. So we have Bronco Marketing Manager Esteban Plaza-Jennings back with us. Hey, this is an amazing vehicle. It is hard to believe that this is a vehicle from the factory, Esteban. It is from Ford Performance, and they have outdone themselves with making this thing able to tackle anything.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Ford Performance team, they took what they knew from the F-150 Raptor, and they applied that to the Bronco Raptor. And the neat thing about Bronco Raptor, though, is that they took it a step further, and the vehicle not only is extremely capable at high speed out in the open desert, but it is a great rock crawler as well. So we're calling it the world's first Ultra 4 inspired SUV, and we think it really lives up to that, given its ability to both operate at high speed and in the rocks.
I'm going to assume, Esteban, since we haven't been in it yet, that very similar to the F-150 Raptor, the ride, not off-road, but the ride on-road is really quite smooth and comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, there are quite a few F-150 Raptor components under this vehicle. So it has very similar Fox 3.1 active shocks. They utilized a lot of similar suspension linkages and beefed up a lot of the drivetrain, similar to how they've done on F-150 Raptor as well.
Well, you're really starting with a stout, very capable vehicle, the Ford Bronco. I mean, you can't, if you're going to start to build an incredible rock crawler, street legal rock crawler, this is the place to go. I mean, you look at the chassis of this vehicle and what's been done. I mean, it almost looks like it came out of a off-road race shop.
Yeah, so we definitely wanted to show off all the tech on our chassis. So the footage we're looking at right now, all the blue painted pieces are unique frame reinforcements and additions that were done for Bronco Raptor, and all the yellow painted pieces are unique suspension pieces that were developed for Raptor. So everything got torn through by Ford Performance with the objective of obviously fitting those standard 37-inch tires, but also creating that built wild durability that we have built into every Bronco.
How much extra cooling has been engineered into this for both the engine and the transmission? Because if you're rock crawling, that's got to be really hard on a transmission.
Yeah, so the Ford Performance team, this vehicle has a unique 3-liter EcoBoost motor, twin turbocharged V6. And so it's been specifically calibrated and tuned for desert durability. So the Ford Performance team, we don't just call it Ultra 4 inspired. The Ford Performance team actually takes this truck out to Johnson Valley, California, and runs a lot of those same trails that they participate in the Ultra 4 competition racing out there. So they have gone through and done all that testing to support those use cases.
Yeah, this is a unique engine, as you said, unique to the Ford Bronco Raptor, 400 plus horsepower. I guess the official rating will come a little bit later, but what else has been done to the drivetrain to make it survive this way? Let's talk a little bit about, had you talk a little bit about the cooling, but what else has been done?
Yeah, there's quite a bit on the drivetrain. So the rear axle's been upgraded to a Dana 50 from a Dana 44. It's gone from a 220 millimeter ring gear to a 235 millimeter ring gear. The front axle has been completely beefed up, higher spline count axles, upgraded half shafts, upgraded knuckles on the half shafts. The Ford Performance team really didn't spare anything. The steering rack's also been beefed up, has a more powerful electric motor on it, and the casing itself on the steering rack has been beefed up. So there's been quite a bit done to the vehicle to support those larger diameter tires.
And the frame is stiffer than a standard Bronco.
The frame has been reinforced to accept all of those pieces. So if you look right, the way the 5-link rear suspension hooks into the frame is unique because it has long travel arms on it, and same with the front suspension. They're much larger A arms than are on a standard Bronco, and also the way that the front axle connects and is supported in the frame has also been beefed up to support the rock loads when the vehicle is in rock crawling conditions, all the shock loads that the vehicle takes.
Wow.
You know, guys, Fred and Esteban, I'm sure you'll agree that looking at that frame and looking at all of those parts and the fact that the engineers at Ford have designed this and put it together, and they've done all of the work, and I'm sure there's thousands upon thousands of hours in doing all of that. And then you look at the TV shows where the guys are taking aftermarket parts and building these things.
Right.
Now they're fine, but there's no way on the face of the earth that we could buy aftermarket parts and put this together, and it's going to be as good, not to mention as reliable, as what the engineers at the factory have done. It would be like building our own Saturn V rocket. It may take off, but I don't want to be in it.
It might have some vibration problems. Yeah.
Certainly some vibration. And by the way, if we're driving this thing, I call shotgun. I'm not sitting in the back.
Yeah, that's a great point. We always talk about that, Esteban, that if you went to build this truck and it looks like the base price is what, $69,995. If you want to buy a new Bronco and say, okay, I'm going to get aftermarket parts and pieces and start working on it and all that, you'd end up spending a lot more than $69,000, and you would probably not get as good a truck as Les mentioned. You just can't build it yourself for this price.
Yeah, it's tough because when you have an OEM engineered solution, you can build in a lot of durability into parts that are very difficult to change in the aftermarket, right? So like I mentioned on the front axle, how the attachment points to the front axle have been reinforced onto the frame, right? That's something that if you want to upgrade in the aftermarket, it's not typically something that can easily be done, right? That's like a cutting welding sort of job.
Right.
So to your point that you're making, yeah, I mean, when it comes from the factory this way, it's a lot easier for us to make these changes before it gets manufactured than to try and do it in your garage.
Right, right. Or you'd have to go somewhere and have it fabricated, custom-made pieces. And,
yep.
I mean, maybe that's great if you have a TV show and a shop and a welder, but most people are probably would try to do it in their driveway. So,
yeah. Now, have you been driving this yourself off-road? I'm just curious, how far this can lean over before you start worrying, and what do you do if it starts going backwards on a really steep incline? I'm just, I just would like to talk to somebody that's encountered those little surprises. And what do you do about it?
Well, one of the things that the engineers built into this vehicle is a immense track width. So the track width, we're almost 10 inches wider than a base Bronco.
Wow.
So, and the reason the engineers have done that is because, right, first and foremost, this is a high-speed desert racer. So the additional track width makes the vehicle significantly more planted at speed, both on and off road. So to your question on kind of like off camber situations and whatnot, yes, the vehicle is taller than a stock Bronco, but it's also wider so that it feels planted and behaves like as such when you're driving it at speed. So that's one thing that's really great about the vehicle, and kind of an example of how that's been executed on the vehicle is, so every Bronco Raptor has a standard front sway bar disconnect, which is only available on the Badlands series for the original base Bronco. And on base Bronco, you can drive up to 20 miles an hour with the front stay bar disconnected. But on Bronco Raptor, we've actually bumped up that automatic re-engagement speed to 50 miles per hour.
Wow.
Because of the additional track width and the stability that it affords.
Wow.
Yeah, this is built for racing across the dunes and the desert. That is great. Well,
That's right.
Stay with us, Esteban. We're going to have more about the Bronco Raptor when we return on Cruise Control. I'm Fred Staub. He is Les Jackson. We will be right back with more of the Ford Bronco Raptor. Stay tuned. And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. We're glad you're along for the ride with us. We are talking about a fabulous vehicle, the Bronco Raptor, and it is a lot of street legal desert running fun. Esteban Plaza-Jennings is with us. He is the Bronco marketing manager, and we're going to talk a little bit about the interior right now, Esteban. They've got some unique options, right?
Yeah, so the interior's been created uniquely for Raptor as well. So we have 3 different interior options. We start off, which is standard, with a marine grade vinyl and washout floor. And the floors kind of carry over from the base Bronco, where you can just wash it out with the hose. And then we have 2 leather options. We have a blue leather option and a black leather option available as well. And they have unique front seats specific to Raptor that are more contoured to hug you in place when you're off-roading. So we're very excited about the new interior options we're able to bring to market.
Yeah, I saw something in the console where it looks like a little front grille that is in the console. What's that about?
Yeah, so we have that in every Bronco actually, and so we can change it out. So for our first edition Bronco that we had in 21 model year, we had a unique placard in there, and you can see on Bronco Raptor we have a unique placard as well. So just a fun little, not really Easter egg because it's pretty visible, but fun little thing that we can change out on our vehicles depending on the series.
That's fun. It looks kind of definitely unique in the Bronco Raptor, and I've only been in the Bronco once and drove it for a very short while, and I think I was enjoying it too much to look down at the console, so I didn't notice that. It looked like it was something new for this. But
It's a big change from the old Broncos of yesteryear, which were basically just a metal box with an engine and stiff suspension.
Skinny tires with hubcaps.
And of course, I wish I owned 10 of them right now because they're worth a fortune. But
yeah,
I'd much rather own one of these.
What I guess the way to tell it apart from and you said before it's hard to say that word, a base Bronco, because they're all very capable, but from a non-Raptor Bronco is what? It's the big fender flares, it's the wider stance. What else?
Yeah, so Bronco Raptor has a unique hood with that power dome kind of insert there. It's got unique fenders and fender flares, like you said. It's got that unique grille on the front that says FORD, as well as with the running lights in it as well, due to its overall width. And then we have unique taillights on Bronco Raptor as well. And those taillights were inspired by our Bronco R race car that raced in Baja. And they actually just use kind of aftermarket cube lights for their taillights. And the design studio really loved that. And so they tried to kind of incorporate that race truck look into the taillights for Bronco Raptor.
Yeah, we should say that those 3 lights on the grill of both the Bronco Raptor and the F-150 Raptor, they're an actual requirement because the vehicle is wider than normal. And I never knew that. I thought it was just a cool design thing. Like big trucks. They add extra lights on. It looks cool. They call them chicken lights.
Yeah.
Apparently because chickens, in the old days when they used to haul live chickens, the more lights on the truck, the calmer the chickens were. I don't know why, but that's why they call them chicken lights. But, I mean, there's a real legal reason for them, right?
Yeah, there's 5 across the front, and then we have 5 red lights across the rear. And we had to get a little creative with Bronco Raptor because the federal requirement states that they have to be on a part that is not removable.
Okay.
And on Bronco, that's kind of difficult, right? Our fenders come off, our doors come off.
Right.
And so for the far outside lights, we put them in the side view mirror, actually.
Wow.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
It makes sense that, it has to be on a part that isn't removable, but that's tough to come up with.
I love those interesting design things that you have to do. Apparently, there's a rule also. I didn't know this, but turn signal lenses, you have to be able to see the lens from a certain angle from the side. And it's, I didn't know that. One time I asked a designer, why did you do that little thing in the tail light? He said, that's because it's a federal requirement to see it from the side of the vehicle. So
that's also a part of the reason Bronco Raptor has unique tail lamps, is because the 37-inch tire sticks out further than the 35-inch tire. So it wouldn't have met the visibility requirements for our base program tail lamps.
Yeah, really interesting stuff.
Yeah, it's just so many things that go into building what you kind of think is just something with some options on it, but in fact, it's a completely different vehicle.
Yeah. And Esteban, are there going to be any when people buy this, just like when they buy a performance car, are there going to be any off-roading Ford performance schools that will go along with it so people can really experience what the Bronco Raptor can do?
Yeah, the short answer is there will be, and we're going to have more to share on that in the future, but we're working through that, and we're very excited to tell customers more about that.
Yeah, because
when can they order one?
Oh, that's a good question.
Great question. So we are reserving the majority of Bronco Raptor production for existing order and reservation holders who have been waiting, since we brought the Bronco back. So if you want a Bronco Raptor and you have an order or reservation, you should have received an email allowing you to express your interest in potentially getting a Bronco Raptor. So definitely click on that if you fall into that camp. If you do not have an existing order or reservation, we would recommend that you go talk to your dealer. It's going to be very limited. I mean, it's only a half model year for 22.
Wow.
And obviously it's a Ford performance vehicle, so it will be limited production, but the best thing you can do is talk to your dealer. I know a lot of them have waiting lists for Raptors right now, and that would be the best way to try and get one.
Are these built on a separate line, or are they built with the rest of the Broncos?
They are built on the same line as Bronco, and there's actually a funny story about that. So the Bronco Raptor has 13 inches of front suspension travel and 14 inches of rear suspension travel, which is basically identical with F-150 Raptor. But there was a pinch point within Michigan Assembly where the vehicle had the suspension completely decompressed, and it was too tall to fit through part of the production line. So what the engineers designed was a unique mount in the rear axle that allowed them to sort of artificially compress the suspension by an inch and shrink the overall height of the vehicle so it could actually pass through the suspension line.
You can also do that.
The production line.
You find the biggest guy in the room and you have him sit in the back.
That's it. Yeah, have him sit. Yep.
Accomplishes the same thing, but I'm sure the engineers had a more elegant way of dealing with that.
Yeah.
Will there be a configurator for this? Will there be other options for this? Some people have asked us about that, and I figured I'd ask you.
Yeah, no, great question. There will be options. So like I already went over, there are 3 interior options. There will be some other standalone options like a carbon fiber package for the interior, which you can see on the B-roll that you guys have been showing. And the configurator is going to launch later in the first quarter. So order banks are going to open in March, and we're targeting opening the configurator concurrently with the order banks opening.
Oh, yeah. That is a great way to spend time configuring a vehicle, Les. I mean, it's wonderful. Hey, Esteban, we appreciate it. You just keep having great stuff from Ford, so we appreciate it. We'll have to have you back when you have something else to talk about. Time for me to say I'm Fred Staub.
I'm Les Jackson.
We're going to see you down the road. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you.